Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you're all doing well. So I sent this analysis in the Discord, the high time frame POI, and I broke it down in the weekly forecast, and it played out nicely, and it was a great trade that I had taken. Now I want to share it with you guys because it was a fantastic trade, and it goes to show that even, you know, setups don't look the cleanest, there's still some probability in there somewhere, and I'll explain everything as we go bar by bar, and I'll drop down to the 15-minute, the 1-minute from entry, and blah blah. Okay, so here's a trade. So you had a 4-hour POI. There's a little bit more to it, in which I will show, like the daily stuff, for example. As you can see, we have a H4 POI here, so we drop down to the 15-minute, obviously because of the fractal nature. The daily, the 4-hour, the 15-minute, and the 1-minute. They are the best time frames in terms of the fractal nature. Okay, so as you can see here, the 15-minute price chucked to the downside. Like I said, it wasn't the cleanest entry, but the POI was still there in terms of the trading range. You know, we basically went off this trading range and said, okay, price taps into the premium of this trading range and chucks on the 1-minute, then we could potentially look at a nice entry. As you can see here, price tapped into that 15-minute POI, right, swept the edge of highs, etc., which I'll explain later. And as you can see here, we had a great entry. Now, it didn't just end to base off this 15-minute POI. We waited for price to tap into the 15-minute POI before chucking. Okay, so this here would not be a tap of the POI. This here would be a tap of the POI, but as you can see, price did not chuck here. We then put in a new high, and we go back. We have the low here. And as you can see here, price chucked to the downside. We then ask ourselves, okay, what created that chuck on a 1-minute time frame? And it was essentially that, you know, candle there that I've marked up. And as you can see, set your sell limit and Bob's your uncle, and a great trade. So what I'll do is now is I'll just reply to my partner, and then I'll jump on the charts. So I'll start off on the daily time frame. I'm going to start off here. And the reason why I'm starting off here is because this is quite important. We had our daily low and daily high up here. And you're probably thinking, okay, well, shouldn't be looking for buys. And essentially, yes. But because this is such a huge range, I didn't really want to go based off this huge range, because we'd be waiting years, okay, literally. So what I did was I just went internally, and as you can see, internal structure, like, you know, we taught in the course, we have internal structure, and as you can see here, price had mitigated a daily POI. Okay, so you have a daily supply zone set there nicely, price mitigated it. So what we've got to do now is get onto the 4-hour. This isn't necessary, you can go based off just 4-hour POIs, look for 15-minute entries or 15-minute POIs and 1-minute entries. But for me, I like to cycle through the time frames and have a, you know, actual storylines. So for example, okay, daily tap into supply zone, okay, 4-hour tap into supply zone, 15-minute supply zone, 1-minute supply zone, and they're basically filtering down those time frames until you get the best entry. Okay, you can stop at the 15-minute and you can take your entry on the 15-minute. That is not a problem. Okay, for example, here you may stop here and take a sell here, stops above there, that's completely fine. Okay, so don't have, you know, just because you see other people taking tight stops and, you know, for example, scalp stops and swing moves, you know, swing and take profits, it doesn't matter, right? You got to find out what works for you. If you're a person, or, you know, a man or a woman who doesn't really have time to trade a 1-minute time frame, then that's fine. Okay, you may only get access to the 15-minute, you know, you may work or whatever, you may, you know, be rushing. Not that I recommend to have that rushing mindset in trading, because you will create psychological issues. You need to be in a relaxed state, calm mind, as we know. But you get what I'm saying, right? If you don't have much time on the charts and you take the entries off the 15-minute, you're more than happy to do so. They're more than welcome. That works fine. Okay, it's just that I like to get onto the 1-minute because I have that freedom, and I always did have that freedom, and, you know, but I'm thankful I do now. Anyways, as you can see here, like I said, price happened to a daily supply zone. Yes, it is internal structure, but as you can see here, we had an impulsive move, and yeah, that's essentially it. Anyways, on a 4-hour, as you can see here, okay, price, you know, went on the time frame. What am I saying? So price is tapped into the daily supply area. Now on the different chart at the time, the low was around here somewhere. We didn't factor in this low because something went on, but as you can see here, we took out this low as well, so that would be the chalk. And also, again, it's the same sort of story, you know, whether you had this as your chalk at the time, it doesn't really matter, because this POI obviously still broke structure. Okay, this here chalked. Okay, price did not pull back. Okay, so we would have this, for example, PO up here, or that's up kind of for the down move. As you can see, price didn't fully pull back into that area, which is fine. Okay, so this is why it's important to adapt to the market. It may come back to this area later on in time, and that's fine. We may look for another entry up there, but as of right now, we need to be within the moment and looking for potential entry. Okay, so as you can see here, this POI is what created the, obviously breaker structure or chart. It depends obviously what it says in your charts, but as of on this charts, this is a clear breaker structure. Okay, so this is what caused the breaker structure. Okay, so we have this POI up here. Very impulsive move. Now, it's important to not get too fixated on the fact that looking for impulsive moves, it is a bonus sort of thing. So for example, what I'm trying to get at here is when you have a POI, right, if it gives a reaction off like this, like an impulsive move, then it's quite a high probability POI. Okay, it's the same with a POI that swept liquidity. So for example, as you can see here, let's just say for example this here POI, okay, this is what swept liquidity, because we have this sort of support zone here, so people will be looking to buy obviously on the support zone. And as you can see here, this swept all that liquidity, took out the people's stop losses, and obviously moved higher and created a new high. So we'll obviously look to trade from there. Okay, that's just an example of a POI in terms of sweep, liquidity sweep and POI. Okay, but as you can see here, again, price up to that 4-hour POI. We know price is forming from a daily supply zone. We can always go back to the daily as well, and as you can see here, right, there's a slight inefficiency, or sorry, imbalance in the markets, like right here. Okay, so that there just adds an extra probability of price. Okay, if that's filled that imbalance, we should see price move. Okay, so that's just it's optional. Like I said, don't get fixated on it, and it's important that we mark out the highs and lows, because right now the current trading range is obviously this high and low. Okay, and as you can see here, we could use that maybe for targets, because obviously that's the low. You could maybe tie it in with the Asian low, for example. Now, so hopefully you get where I'm at. So we tapped into a daily supply, that was optional, but we tapped into a 4-hour POI that broke structure. We'll drop into the 15-minute. So all that we need to do now is essentially just look for a chock on a 15-minute. Okay, also we have the daily open as well. So the candle opened here, right? We formed a quick low. That sort of set the low for the day. Well, it's a false move first before the actual move. So this sort of induced people, whether they're looking to sell early on or whatever, the American traders. And then obviously you had this 12 to 5 Asia range. So as you can see here, price did also sweep that Asia high as well, liquidity. So that's an, again, extra probability. So as you can see, it's all starting to make sense and tie in now. So we have these equal lows here as well, which is important to take note of. We have some sort of support zone resistance here, so that's sort of adds downside liquidity. We have some trend line liquidity here, which people will be looking to buy on. So the downside liquidity is there. We have this huge imbalance as well, impulsive move that broke structure. Again, many people will be looking to buy from here as well, order block traders, so they will be taken out. What we would look to do is simply look to target down into, I don't know why I drew that, but down into these Asia lows, because essentially if price takes out an Asia high, yes, you can look into target into the Asia lows and vice versa. And also this just lines up with the H4 low as well. So in terms of the H4 low and the Asia low, we know that there's a high probability of price heading into that low. Anyways, as you can see here, H4 high, H4 POI, sorry. Okay, we have this low here, so what we would need to see is obviously a chock below that low, which we don't get here, but we get here. Okay, no we don't. Here we go. Okay, so now we have this, no we don't. Okay, there we go. So as you can see here, we have formed a low. There's an imbalance there as well. We formed this low. Okay, so we can always use that to mark potentially targets. And we have this high up here as well. Like I said, there wasn't clear any sort of POI, but there was an imbalance there before it got filled. So what we will do is just, maybe if we can just mark up this high to low, anything above here, sell. Okay, and essentially that's within the premium zone. There's a POI within here somewhere. So what we will do now is drop to the 1 minute time frame, and let's just wait for a 1 minute chock. Okay, so we know this. Yeah. Oh, this is the 50-minute chock, wasn't it? What we do need to wait for now is price to just take out the low, and so far this is the current low. So let's see if, okay, so straight away, and as you can see there, what created the chalk was obviously this zone. So what we would do here is go ahead and set off our sell limit orders, or you can wait for a bearish candle for extra confirmation. It's completely up to you, it doesn't really matter. When price comes and mitigates this zone again, in terms of targets, we have this 15-minute low. Maybe if price takes out the 15-minute low, we can move stops to break even. But overall, ideally, we want to be targeting here as well. So what I'll do is I'll just let price play out so that you can see what happened. And we got tagged in, a little bit of drawdown, unfortunately. But again, it's a nice winning trade at the end of the day. So you guys a little bit about drawdown. As you can see here, this here is a potential scaling. The scaling is there. The reason why I say this is a good scaling is because you have to remember, okay, this took out structure as well on the 1 minute, but also remember, what is this low? This is the 50-minute low. So price created a price broke the 50-minute low. And in terms of trading ranges, obviously we would be, this low and this high. So if price was to break above, then we would manually exit the trade. But overall, we're looking for that take profit down the Asia lows and a 4-hour low as well. But like I said, we do have this POI here as well, okay? So this is the POI that broke structure, okay? This is a clear order block. This is a clear supply zone. That would be a great scaling opportunity, especially off this bearish candle here. And as you can see, price just absolutely melted. So again, if you did enter off that bearish candle here, like I just mentioned a second ago, which would be here, stops above the range, then obviously again we look to target, and that'd be a great scaling opportunity. So the scaling's there, but I'm not going to go and recap that today. But as you can see, there is no really need to recap it. It's essentially showing you what happened. And we don't form a high yet. Do you notice how we just take a look at this, right? We have this low, right, but price didn't take it. This is scary precise sometimes, these highs and lows. All the high would be up here, so what we could do is maybe look for another scaling before our target gets reached. Happens anyways, I don't believe. And then we take out the low and also hit take profit. Okay, so I'm gonna just carry on manually managing the trade just so you guys can get a sense of what we do. But the target's been hit, so we know that it is a potential reversing point. So price forms a low, we have a new high. So like I said, as soon as the high gets taken, we can look to close. But like I said, for me, I was personally out this trade and I was gone. So that was a great trade for me that I had taken. Okay, so we did take out this low. We have a new high now as well. So if price was to take out that high, let me simply look to manually exit the trade. And as you can see, price obviously swept those highs. So what you would do is close there. Probably, if you want to have your stops there, whatever. As you can see, that was still been a great trade, 9.04R. But we did reach a staggering 8.12R, so it's an extra 1R. And like I said, we know that price once takes out the low, we should see price melt towards a target. And yeah, that's pretty much it really. Honestly, there isn't crazy loads to it. It's just a simple rinse and repeat trade. 4-hour POI, yes, we had a daily that was optional, so I can go daily, a 4-hour, 15-minute, the 1 minute, all the fractals were lining up. We had supply zones everywhere. We took the trade from that supply zone, and it was a great trade. We targeted into the 4-hour low. Yes, the current trading range of the 4-hour was pretty bullish, but obviously we had that clearing balance behind, and price will and can do what it wants whenever it wants. Okay, it's important to understand that and develop that mindset. But once you start to develop a probabilistic mindset, that'll help you enter and execute trades like this. Because as you can see, like I said, even though the 4 hours moving bullish, it's happened to a previous supply zone, so we know that okay, it could potentially reverse. It just filled in a daily slight imbalance as well. Tapped into a daily supply zone. The 15-minute chalk bearish, we got to pull back to the 15-minute zone that created a break on the chalk, and then we just repeat the process on a 1 minute. Okay, if you're one of them who take boss entries, so just break a structure entry, so at this point you wouldn't have taken this chalk, that's fine. You probably could have got a nice entry here as well, utilizing the 3 candle method. Obviously we have this new low, and what you could have done here, this is again another great scaling entry. So you could have had another entry on here, and that would be your entry there if you were taking BOS entries. Okay, And then obviously we had a scale in here, because this is a very clear scale. In day and light, I would have took this one, just because obviously if you understand the trading range, this is the high and this is the, okay, that's a clear scaling opportunity right there. And also this has cause, because this one broke structure to the side very aggressively. So yeah, the opportunities are there. You really just have to spot them, and the more trade recaps you watch and the more backtesting you do over time, you'll just start to build confidence. And once you have, you know, your plan all written up and you have a checklist or whatever, if that's your approach, then you will, you know, just rinse and repeat the process. Trading actually is supposed to be boring. Like, you know, like I say quite often, trading literally should be like watching paint dry or watching someone cut your grass. Okay, some of you may find cutting your grass or watching paint dry therapeutic, but what I'm trying to get at is it shouldn't be exciting. There shouldn't be any emotions attached when you trade. Okay, number one, don't have any emotions. Right, number two, protect your money at all times. Right, number three, don't forget rule 1 and 2. Okay, over time, it's important that you just let your edge play out, take advantage of the, you know, 8th wonder of the world, which is compound interest. And over time, your account will just increase. And it's important that over time you focus on that long-term equity curve rather than getting caught up on the short-term downfalls. Okay, I've got countless posts on this one. So if you go through my Instagram page, you'll see one to focus on the equity curve, and that's just a graphical representation of, you know, the equity chart over time, pretty much. And yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, if you have any questions related to this trade recap, then pop me a message. Make sure you just say, okay, I'm interested in the USOIL trade or whatever, and give me the date and time. It's the 26th of July. And yeah, just let me know, guys, if you have any questions. Like I said, at the end of the day, I'm a mentor. I'm here to help you. You know, you get what you pay for. You know, if you want access to myself, then obviously you can message me at any time. There's no problem in that. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.